Penguin Audio presents Unintimidated, A Governor's Story and a Nation's Challenge by Scott Walker with Marc Thiessen. Read by Scott Walker. Introduction. If it can happen in Wisconsin, it can happen anywhere. If you're like me, the view from Washington, D.C. these days is pretty grim. Barack Obama has been elected to a second term. Obamacare will not be repealed anytime soon. Congress has approved massive tax increases. The national debt is on track to double during Obama's presidency. We are experiencing the worst economic recovery America has ever had. Family income has plummeted, and more than 3/4 of Americans are living from paycheck to paycheck. Over 20 million Americans still cannot find work or have simply given up trying, and the Congressional Budget Office projects that we won't return to full employment until the end of 2017, a year after President Obama leaves office. Worse, a recent study by Rutgers University found that 6 in 10 Americans believe that the nation's economy has undergone a permanent change, and that today's dismal economic situation is the new normal. Think about that. Our citizens are poor, our debt is larger, our growth is slower, and our people are less hopeful than at any time in recent memory. And a majority of Americans have come to expect and accept this sorry situation as normal. Yet President Obama has laid out a second-term agenda that doubles down on the failures of his first. And Republicans are being warned that they should not even try to stop him. The GOP, we are told, is increasingly out of touch with the American people. Our once center-right country is moving center-left. We are told that the only way for Republicans to avoid electoral annihilation is to stop opposing President Obama, abandon our conservative principles, and make peace with big government. Depressed yet? Don't be. Things may look hopeless in Washington, D.C., but from where I sit in Wisconsin, the view is decidedly more hopeful and optimistic. Here's a little reported fact. Outside the Washington Beltway, big government liberals are on the ropes, while conservative reformers are winning elections and policy battles in state houses all across the country. Consider some encouraging data. At the time of this writing, not one incumbent GOP governor has lost a general election since 2007. Quite the opposite. In the last 4 years, Republicans have picked up governorships from Democrats in Iowa, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kansas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Wyoming, North Carolina, New Jersey, Virginia, Maine, and in Wisconsin. The number of GOP governors has risen since 2008 from 21 to 30, just 4 short of the all-time high of 34 Republican governors in the 1920s. When Barack Obama was first elected in 2008, Republicans held just 3,220 seats in state legislatures across the country. Today, 2 election cycles later, the number is 3,826, a net gain of 606 seats. In the 2012 elections, when President Obama was overwhelmingly elected to a second term, Republicans saw net gains in 34 legislative chambers, including chambers in 4 states won by President Obama: New Mexico, Ohio, Washington, and Wisconsin. When President Obama first took office, Republicans controlled just 16 state House of Representatives and 20 state Senate chambers. Today, they control 28 and 29, respectively. And they hold veto-proof majorities in 16 states, a gain of 3 during the 2012 election that sent Obama back to the White House. 4 years ago, Republicans controlled both the legislature and governor's mansions in just 8 states. Today, the number is 23, and nearly half our citizens live in states where both the legislature and the governorship are in Republican hands. Does this sound like the record of a party that is out of touch with the priorities of the American people? So the question is, why are so many Republican governors and state legislators winning elections at a time when national Republicans are faring so poorly?
Sample complete. Ready to continue?